They don't really let me judge with good reasons. I absolutely.
I think this might be the first time this year I've been at these two teams.
I think this is the first time most of the judges on the panel have seen either of these.
They judge them in the sense.
Just weird how it works out. Anybody else want on this?
Sure.
We got all the debate tours. Fourth. All right. Speak slowly and spell big words. Okay. Someone signing this? All right, go.
Contention what is Alaska, North Korea nuclear checks are coming in molested Saturn 329 North Korea Josh F. Thompson happens in office of the province of Harvard Hampshire checks in the USA. Real plans and guarantees of the office of the property intensity practice over half days. After the high raising questions about the principle whether or not Kevin decides to principle such as how whether it might be or examples of whether or not it's more likely this captures the drops in the hair trigger circulation over the edge and last is located report in future be invaded her North Korea Thompson and 315 properties intensity they mentioned the missile defense 50% North Korea easily practice the properties we will take the missile defense and hold support to rapid intercepts of percolate there are currently 26 in Alaska and Alaska ground missile defense facilities depend on power from declining reserves. Or an alternative still where we can turn the forces working to the back facilities missile defense actual steps of the last properties will not electricity made to the anchor 2 times the transit line and the distributor half of the hydro half of this is unconscious of the stuff of the interest amounts and given the current half of the fossil fuels generation thing which happens natural gas and cooked in human has diesel energy half of the primary emergency defense of the energy and security classes the last of missile defense that's age and not even face the doors to the American opposite the defense missile defense in North Korea is good to this must have that or maintain steps of the last and properties low to the look at the enemy that's the enemy is good to the more flexible defense strategy the enemy is North Korea blackmail the US cause war history and not already detections in North Korea launches of the market traffic glitches protections and robbers the intelligence of the couple of best in the country the social forces often live in over the Olympic and the opposite North Korea regards the defense missile that's given the strength to launch or well it's hard to the intercept North Korea back into Korea war goes nuclear spills over globally best times, and 313 dollars is public and tax dollars American dollars South American South to give them the tax even response to the comes to the comes to the missile strikes every early attack by me and the comes to the strikes global economy except for the comes to the except for the results of the has of the US and how the economic connections not for the more connections to the alliance in China said the conflict is likely due to energy reserve only used Japan alliance South Korea and 13 petrol to the Chinese determination after the energy reserve what is the China sees that US starting the military competition that other rights of China the day which is likely to ratchet up the bill constituting most of the military forces even and as after the vouchers up to the gases up to the function national some purpose rest battles some of these countries and so has led recently regional diplomacy has been undergoing strength and China's little intentions back to the commerce party that had never seen competition leadership position multiple worries something new and episode military take national last started to say as I know some people happens some of these troops American that was the Asian opposites waiting for it was American left is not the troops here so for the US American powers for the international how to attack a situation they proved no and had the forces will be assemblies from the after the such direct to US head and substance process literally perhaps the top about the actual substance of the switches these is down the whole will be a pillar it will isolate accents and will back down etc that's also urging us to come to countries have space over the Chinese have become more aggressive then as the Chinese Trump's permanent go to war and try to manage China now when the coalition comes back and the weight tensions are so high and it can back to the limits of crops and keep the Trump space up 20,000 units much harder than the US head who up to the easy up to the one zone and keep the down the little over the very complex bed and over the over substance layer or two wants to next the military the military types of the some of the situation military never and China have like types of choose some of the substance to comes by Asian pace or draws on US and goes nuclear blacks and 13 Afghanis to Japanese China started and then the Japanese countries left the incident represents even the only special Japanese Japanese long the Japanese United States is good and the last of the other 20 attempts to Japanese which were for about limited Japanese mercy and just make me know what's which sugar there was little hope when it comes to most opposition and the state to Japan so like and active purchase of country was for actually Japan take up with the great soul ever strength the nuclear debate isolation of the Chinese Japanese who come to the military to beat us out Japan to resort to nuclear trigger drive and we resort to the US but China's Japanese go for the energy to have the states prudent to exercise restriction but normal way catch up for response and these Russian fears and up to the insatiable Chinese oil demand raise start to herself to the cost of reliance on TWs and the war about GD and a ton of massive word about China rapid advance in the military is up to the concerns of Russia become China's natural resources behind its stone leads to China's deep resort to natural comes to China comes to moves happens to break out with mass of the team our president comes to team with myself such goes to China comes to be as well and receptions reliance on TWs Russian reliance on TWs causes and nuclear war Tarkovsky and 13 happens to restrictions use Russian and Japanese air without like two isolation and go for the use and part of Russian and isolation happens to close the enemy able to space and able to force the nuclear happens to and deficit symbol of the snow is supposed to be how China now that happens to come from the access to Russian never use for space spaces to vent day and every time Russia's here to self team knows deposition relations difference wood and then TWs contention 3 is methane hydrogen we have commercialized methane hydrogen 6 section murderment and 36 recent of the team with the stars and that happens to go to the train able to commercialize such as result of pit and use again what's come to the keep the global temperature low to degrees substitute another 500 as a subject that you have to talk to the other times silly source of the eco's head and Japanese commercialization the most likely cause massive rapid warming the moments and 314 USGS estimates that happens to come to the rise of carbon the fossil fuel and ecological impacts of carbon into methane is 20 times more often than the CO2 and massive happens in the course handle the same period happens to rapid warming up to 8 degrees and top of 11 happens to 7 degrees and most likely happens to rapid warming short term happens to methane has people live to be more on of course there's really less happens to funding operations or happens to sources the estimate and hydrogen cause other sources to long term only after the charging toxic stage mommy at 13 the world with the impact methane is also for it was tossed into the catalyst of acceptance of this could happen to folks who made competition down our like to take that and some of the issues we suffer to be don't have sharp the results not warmers but perhaps a stat and as up pioneering the plane ensures that Japan plays methane hydrates on the back burner Niller and 313 companies helps that production methane after the companies methane happens to 10 equals to after the companies society companies head size companies sees companies getting conditions opposite Japan has been a leader in companies green technologies big new and the source of cheap action so the options commercial commercial Bible and methane hydrates on clear price and Tamushi and their treats of companies probably understood as the companies penetrate making trucks and companies pay most of them in charge of companies next year charges pops the next episode our Japanese companies constant maintain companies Bible contention for is solving first local supply internal links elastic gas extraction for reds the supply short price cook wells are key mainly and companies be cook companies new gas services well all the conditions in there happens to cut the aging gas well and the significant charge out to more forces the pump charges for 30 and 20 companies short falling keeping adequate plan as the houses were the solar gas shop without some new companies gas coming to land as high side as that floated about the gas systems and power source and less than 90% of power generation and power that can go the last of the gas companies short problems pumps creation not just the absence of as far as I think typically and second is LNG export internally LNG export strength the US Japan allies by locking Japanese energy security solved Chinese naval attempts into Russia fears about Chinese energy as I know and 13 LNG supposed to increase Japan's support simply the increase LNG actions the US and the panel and the less the impact to be on the increase after the pumps to have the Asian companies LNG exports will be up to Japan second pumps will be have to US strategy towards Asia Japan could it should be more about the able to be able to increase economic development in the country LNG pumps size and pumps in transit Japan as they run hard to help Japan to increase up to the real targets and LNG deficits Japan has as Asian states but I know and Japanese companies some of the energy serving up to Japan new jobs in US Japan have lots of production has to be China has to table access to and just have to some of the to be able to name instructions that he knows in China's economy or to China's energy dot how does it become to US and how to allow to strengthen the operations of China and to you and forms of the China practice law, but brushes, companies research, companies neighbors, you will grab the you as you handle the anchors, companies, companies, US, and companies design robots, companies, energy, companies, play, over China, Russia, effectively emerging current Texas fission to produce massive amounts of gas and cook and see ideal, low emission orbit, love, is a big difference, click on that, and companies out the rubber in the air, sometimes massive, ideal situation, opens about 100 numbers of explosive, the intense of measurement from there is essentially another big thing, companies, companies, US, companies, the thing after that, saying that TTC, companies, companies, coming over this way, or companies, companies, original politics, and companies, companies, all existing infrastructure guarantees, quick natural gas production, cook, POEM, and 12 that, and LSM acceptance of companies, the infrastructure, and burner purposes, production, the existing infrastructure, gas, juice and cooking, lack of access to cooker, or restriction of production, decorated all 90. Federal agencies attached to the estimates on its company officials will come to the UAM, MS out of Dover, yes, and EU. It is accepted that discovery officials will come to the estimates, T separate to recover the gas remain and substance to hamper further exploration of the others. Internationally, the estimates the companies total 1,000 performance to be safe and performance substance geological evaluation indicates 1,000. And 30 different national representatives who have department condition system not to the problems will come to the different departments remaining the reference problems in the game to the issue for prediction of our team to the MP reference prediction our geological evaluation and the first of the health production reference for the different initial like the numbers restrictions yet to be and the critical system research estimate for the concept of the cameras market in small order critical markets opening new supplies and goods and critical to LG exports to Japan router and 360 play one of the big cameras is temperature small the AFB opportunities to contact the we sell flexibility temperature operation the gas remains available to last it's only US only company that has accepted the 3 of the and the acceptance extensions extra license over the years the gas pumps sessions of the energy of the gas you have to keep it after the shipment of LG to Japan after or and company sources of kind and the pushing LG exports to Japan not coming to us hydrates that's already in 3 topics of Japan the sources gas method hydrates is accept after commercial production so gas much after the production of this in the US there's little need to resort to trip for gas and federal courts of black and average told title left asphalt says block and for time to look in the cooking level the 90 pumps for students get the SMI the pumps average pumps the traditional pumps the sister pumps in company the city pumps village enjoys the SMI time and I don't tell the church is the pumps village the pumps one after the motion out the base of the paramount team include average pumps village grabs it and extended pumps weather village to have the title to the most numbers and that there the pumps could when pumps is a lot of overturn the district courts and that there but be no aboriginal title negotiates plan the United States Court of Appeals should grant the Cook Inlet region incorporated and aboriginal title natural gas from Cook Inlet planning area for extraction and the U.S. Court of Appeals should and aboriginal title go over to the Congress now there's no opportunity for the OCS and the FL institution pumps current pumps overturning air pumps prevention injustice right native American rights alliance pumps federal pumps turning the pumps property rights so it's starting the respect aboriginal pumps limitations of the taking justice circuit so reverse here hitting the suburb pumps the secretary in terms of the village's use suspicion establish aboriginal title.
Can we get that email before we start prepping? I don't think or anything, and ours she won't either.
Since you have all the cards, do you want to just start prepping and I'll give it to you?
It's a lot easier to look through on a computer.
Okay, it's sent.
The whole point of reading papers is you have control F that.
Oh, I was setting the time.
That is the prep process. They're doing alt use.
So what is the district court hearing this case?
No, not right now.
So like what's the last time that it's been heard? 1995?
EAC 1 was in originally in 95, is that right?
95.
So as it like what appeals court is it even before?
It was in front of the ninth.
Okay, and so the plan fiat's that it comes back before appeals and then appeals overturns it?
Well, the planned fiats that they give aboriginal title for purposes of gas.
Yeah, so like who brings that case?
The plan doesn't fiat who brings it. It's a standing case that's unresolved, I think.
And then what's your solvency card for this Alaska advantage?
The first card on solvency.
Like how do you create effective EMP? Sorry.
Oh, the internal link to BNP is
Bailey?
all about energy security. That solvency card says we provide energy security.
It's the Bailey card.
Bailey, okay.
Yeah.
You want to someone up here? That's what you call a while.
transparency.
You're gonna have to give this a second.
Insert some sheets here.
I'm ready. I know, it's like Strauss. Strauss has had this dream. 9, solvency. Is that it? No. Okay.
No, of course not.
And,
I'm still creating tabs.
okay.
Insert and foil.
Okay, I have enough tabs now.
And anything more general?
Alaska.
And Alaska.
Yeah.
And Japan. And yeah, then the methane hydrates are. I'm going by argument, not label. So if someone wants to clear up for me what
You
the
can also just say lanes. That's easier.
but now I know. 1, 2, 3.
But solvency is for email address sheet.
Yeah, so
yeah,
They just hit reply if they're on
Internet
this.
problems.
Yeah.
If you want it for, you should probably just jump it.
That's fine.
Is that accurate? That way you can
Is that why you didn't send out?
You could jump it.
Okay, the jump.
All right. So are you sending notes to everyone?
Sending it. Coming by email to Strauss.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, he doesn't need to jump.
Yes.
Nice.
Ooh, airman. All righty.
I just want the option.
Topic: how many there are no drilling restrictions, grant 12 other than the temporary ban in the eastern Gulf. There are no statutory restrictions, there are no cease leasing districts about leasing made administratively with the industry. It's a limits disaster. Deep 76, a comprehensive study to determine best way to organize energy related regulatory activities. The government 90 different federal agencies contributing task force, but 7 months to cyber federal energy regulatory system. More than 40 agencies were found to be involved. Most of the 40 could significantly affect energy and gas transmission. The Federal Agency Act on citing land use 7 on emission 5 of public safety standard. Oil company was filed about 1,000 reports a year with 35 different federal agencies. Now the Russia Arctic said they'll foster cooperation now ensures regional disputes and resolve the plans. Flips that H-1 10 containment versus the energy discovered 30th century northern Indian version of the fourth wall was assumed. Oil and gas tanks proving access to offshore oil and gas deposits to the Arctic. Russia has lost its territories to the south and inaccessible Arctic leadership to turn northward and containment of Russia's gone. Russia tries to stick from the Arctic coast. This geographical pivot will not be without conflict, but conflict can be political rather than military. Groundwork has been laid to ensure peaceful development in the Arctic. Issues yet to be resolved. The U.S. challenge Russia's claim of internal waters. Russia will increasingly share interests held by the U.S. Russia's interest in the Arctic will foster a maritime policy that embraces resource management potential. Territory disputes between the U.S. and Russian allies are likely to be resolved through peaceful means. Conflicts will be focused on energy development rather than warfare. Arctic cooperation can promote easily use of the Arctic geographical pivot will be an area of peace cooperation. American objective should be to work collaboratively, but the plan destroys that plan. The Arctic region remains stable for the moment. There's risk it could be sucked into vicious spiral. There's not period growing anti-Russian solidarity. This could jeopardize downtown leveraging cooperation. Overriding concern must be to resist a side and confrontation of these threats of cooperation. Focusing on security demand increase because of economic states collaboration. Should be strengthened and maintain the Arctic as a zone of harmony and cooperation as an organization as fast as Russia's Arctic strategy. Bilateral cooperation will be benefits for relation extraction from existing reveals rather than development of new fields. As the fragile Arctic mission will be common interest or no economic states sufficient to change the strategic balance and off a vicious spiral of sufficient nationalistic rhetoric and remilitarization pursuit of short-term national interest with jeopardize strategic objective maintenance of stability, sharpening Russia's sense of strategic isolation, goes nuclear walls 10. Two nuclear weapons states U.S. and Russia and the Arctic competing claims these lead to conflicts and exploiting the use of nuclear weapons in no good circumstance in which nuclear power and military competition can be taken lightly. The issue of uncertainty as states begin to recognize geopolitical significance of the Arctic. The environment at Arctic drilling causes accidents, destroys it. Murray 13, remote waters, not clean, harsh national selection, please prevent rules of our ocean waters. There's no improvement. State shall got lucky. It ended with no environmental disaster. Vessels are disabled in different places. That doesn't exactly inspire confidence in the company's ability to conduct operations. One of the harshest places on Earth. Extinction, Clark 6 biodiversity, be dependent on our survival variability within ecosystems, basic needs, and regulate climate and biodiversity's risk consequences of losing this could be deadly, devastating if we destroy species and habitat, engender food supplies, lose medicines, chemicals, impair critical ecosystems. Now, the VRA decided ruling on energy trains the court's capital for civil rights. Skip that. Okay. The immigration decided will pass not a done deal. Vargas 4-1 with bipartite efforts of both houses to reach a consensus on CRG. President at the table, CRG will pass the RNC discussion of policy waters when they endorse reform as part of autopsy. Republican Party's not in a position to prevail reform across the finish line. Caesar's been a wedge issue, but issues have a shelf life. However, this is not yet a deal. Remains a split among Republican details and CRG. Christians think we don't need reform. She doesn't work in court. Comprehensive proposal as soon as possible, including radiogram. Owls will slow things down, make sure we can compromise as thoughtful banner Labrador, and the plan drains political capital. Hold 17 enactment of significant energy legislation dealing with offshore development will be extremely difficult and highly partisan. That disrupts immigration. Harbor 26 on doing energy. Everyone in the capital is focused on something else. Congress and President governing was around immigration and taxpayer face healthcare, but climate the former. Oh, almost accomplishment, the latter second title, everything for the pendulum to swing on common policy seems to have you're going to never have anything like that push on immigration, about capitalizing immigration on energy. Obama faces a unified Republican Party president, expect to how to push his agenda through with this in mind. The next phase is immigration, unlike energy, can claim his own wins on immigration, key to the economy, competitiveness, dilemmas. Three state companies, hence the Republican immigration system hinders economic growth, puts America's global leadership in jeopardy, innovation drives the economy without a good ideas, skilled workers and country transforms industry, leaves markets, and engineering and tech companies of one form, but founder immigrants are twice as likely to start businesses, from small businesses, reform of title for companies that cannot locate domestically. Extinction, Oslo, and global chaos, followed economic collapse, the downturn puts that's Chinese internal instability, wide scale repression inside Russia, along with threatening posture neighbors is likely. Europe will face dangerous tensions and collapse. Governments, global collapse could are dramatically years tensions coupled that with disputes in all regions of the globe. The result may be small solutions that coalesce into the big men. Now, the China exports counterplan. The United States federal government should allow natural gas exports to China. Now, the Congress
China, just allow natural gas exports.
allow natural gas exports. That's fine. Do you still want the next one as well?
No.
Okay, good. The QPQ counterplan. Democratic members of Congress should establish that they will vote for granting the Cook Inlet region incorporated Aboriginal country infrastructure and natural gas in the Cook Inlet pending area for extraction, if and only if it is packaged with a modest carbon tax, with the first $30 billion in revenues per year directed to support carbon capture and storage and new battery technologies. President Obama should establish his support for this compromise, his willingness to sign the resulting bill. Concessions on fossil fuels provide leverage for a carbon tax, solves warming. Massey to 28, the president should strike a larger buck in the look and support making meaningful impact on carbon worldwide. The international community is on track to fail to meet the warming of 2 degrees, the point at which scientists see catastrophic climate change against the research of oil and gas industry. How can the president make any impact by striking a grand bargain that allows hydrocarbon resources in exchange for carbon tax? Administration should implement a modest carbon tax to demonstrate the U.S. takes climate change seriously, would encourage other land measures to follow revenue, which should be allocated solving emissions. This requires an explicit quid pro quo. Republicans will pocket concessions. Robert Stein, Republican senators, who to the climate bill continues to defense should stick to commitments. Stems are notorious for telling illegal creatures they have whatever concession they are seeking without from committed illegal creatures put it in the bank and their solemn pledges. Offshore drilling policies are trending toward opening up areas may as well use it as bargaining chip. Extinction, fluoride 12. Sea rights, temperatures, rising global warming is a serious problem confronting all of humanity. This is overwhelming scientific evidence. Overwhelming majority of the world's scientific community is in agreement about the risk. The risk of climate change to India will be a dire risk is a risk assessment. Experts who control with some confidence the risk of climate change could be the extinction of the human species. Now the test case procedural, they can't fiat it because it's super unpredictable, exposed to research burden. They could bring up a case from any time, anywhere. No advocate now. Solvency, Arctic gas won't be drilled. Tech barriers, high costs. Even a single accident takes out solvency. Brown. 3-6 Arctic developments, high cost, high risk challenges, a lack of infrastructure, pipeline approach, special tankers, icebreakers, 48 overlapping sovereignty, flimsy, uncertainty beyond rules, environmental containers can be troublesome, spill, or accidental catastrophic economics are looking forward to higher oil prices, which may not happen. Expensive extracting and transporting gas will make it uncompetitive. Arctic gas will take stays too expensive. It's impossible. Hyman, 125% granted of shell oil may be the biggest mishap. Was hardly the only one accident characterized by one problem after another. In Alaska, true ski and Beaufort seas conditions are even harsher and distance from help is much greater. Hurricane force winds, high seas, impenetrable fog, and shifting sea ice are common. And empirics are conclusive. Benecki 123. The northern region of mishaps mechanically human natural shows the ability to prepare for conditions makes a clear shell swing is not an isolated incident. It's part of larger pattern shells proven to match for the element shells containment. Dome was crushed like a beer can shell for billions of Arctic drone cannot make it for the effort that was profitable company on Earth can't buy safety Alaska. No one can now. North Korea, their weapons.
Just add another offer.
Sorry.
This. Yep.
Okay. The Department of Interior resourcing is sufficient now. Offshore drilling is the key issue. GEO-12 Interior plan increase oversight hiring staff through a multi-year expansion of full staffing in 2015 and attention oversight of offshore drilling may diminish oversight. Interior starts with ensuring resources of the U.S. system for the men that's protective of the environment. Interior is fundamentally organized to improve activities, but the plan overstretches. Leasing reform solves its impact is oversight and revenue collection. Roscoe 11, and we are concerned about Interior's ability to undertake the organization while providing assurance that billions of revenues are collected. Maintaining focus on oversight. Interior experience challenges to make federal resources available for leasing while meeting its responsibilities for managing public lands, wildlife, habitat, recreation, and wilderness, beyond spending multiple manage and increase workable leasing reforms. These concerns, and it's key to battery development. Standard 214, Obama's proposal to fund clean energy research of by oil and gas producers, promise innovation. Obama will redirect royalties to pay for electric batteries and oil back fund. Interest support for alternative zero austerity, accelerating efforts to transform our energy systems are key to survival. Man to 11, we have batteries, energy infrastructure, when it's all power, and batteries can matter. Batteries can collect energy, then discharge it when we need it. The future of the world depends on better batteries, better every relative geopolitics, mitigate climate change, spur on economic boom. Now, the Korea advantage, their weapons are terrible. Bennett, 12. Plenty more steps to get there. Two-stage rockets, far cry from nuclear weapon. There's a lot of complex technical hurdles. North Korea, projectile, and survived re-entry. That's trick North Koreans have yet to attempt it. Also has no target the satellite. Weighed 1/10 of nuclear warhead. They still have to put a nuclear bomb on it too. Test producing 0.2 kiloton explosion. And a second one is much higher. Every expert agrees North Korea doesn't have a weapon capable of based on a missile. We still don't have a missile. That remains a tall order. That means no use or escalation. LA Times 13 hacker formed director of Los Alamos. They require much more flight testing. Nuclear weapons would have to survive demanding mechanical and thermal stresses. They're many years away from threatening the U.S. The regime is not suicidal and missile defense build-up now. It solves Lawrence 316. The U.S. will deploy missile interceptors 14 by 2017 and bring the total to 44. Missile defenses are adequate for present level of threat. Missile defense systems provide protection from ICBM attacks. They don't deter or defeat. Counter capabilities. Further 12 missile defense confers their added benefit to deterrence. Posture improvement. Missile defense may not be capable of defeating the ballistic and Iron Dome. Is long-range defense and intercontinental missile have higher velocities are much more difficult to intercept. Decoys are easy to deploy to single warhead penetrated defenses cause horrific damage. TBM perform poorly in tests under ideal conditions. Under serious technical shortcomings resolved, missile defense may be unable to provide protection.
Russia, China.
No Russia-China war. Spears back. Although China's facing shortages, there's no evidence the Chinese government is moving to sell their population. And to Russia, China has shown no interest in expansion. China's primary interest has been to get a stable border to its north, where Canadian supplies Russia's deterrence guarantee. U.S.-Japan relations are strong and resilient. It solves A10 White House and was one of America's best friends in the world. The relationship would not be adversely affected by the departure of Hatsuyama. The U.S. and Japan bilateral relationship was very strong and deeply rooted in common interests and values. Our relationship is far under each Japanese prime minister and U.S. presidents for the past half century will continue to strengthen in the years to come. Japan was one of our best friends in the world. That alliance is not going to change. Other locations make methanhydrates inevitable, but there's no impact. Jackets, the methanhydrates potentially exposed for climate change. Methanhydrates are in large by almost every bar. Methanhydrates being game over for climate. Methanhydrates consider more carbon than all the other fossil fuel resources combined. Hydrates would be more than enough to cook climate. Sorry, I know I'm skipping around. Russia, China, we'll make it up to you. Empirics, Chicago Tribune 4. China and Russia settled into the last third border dispute, signing an agreement fixing their border. The struggle resulted in violent clashes in the 60s and 70s, seeking fears that conflict erupted into nuclear war. And their authors exaggerate moratory for Soviet Union to forgo attack. Reason was fear that even if they could destroy all China's weapons, they couldn't conventional attack, and that a prolonged war would exhaust the Soviet Union. Leaders tried to ignore provocations and let the conflict diffuse naturally. ASEAN solves coolly. 12 ASEAN's collective strength and combined diplomatic players outside of limit China's influence. Makers may find enough political capital law and international law to resolve conflicts, regularly reducing internal and external tensions. This might include red fishing and oil explorations, efforts providing international law enforcement mechanism will offer joint naval patrols, and it won't escalate change in 12 then big ships from struggle when enable will change BOA suffers from institutional weaknesses that will sink into missions and SES of Communist Party over BOA Trump cycle tactical expertise of officers. Give me a second to mark it there. Ready when you are.
I'm sort of joking, but status of the counterplan?
I mean, you can't make us go for them.
Yeah, okay. The counterplan to do exports, we do exports now. Why is it different than the status quo?
Each one gets approved on a case-by-case basis.
I understand. So does the counterplan fiat approval of all pending exports?
The counterplan allows exports.
Well, the exports are allowed now, so I'm curious what the counterplan's difference from the status quo is.
But I just explained, DOE is not approving right now, right?
So it approves all of the pending
The counterplan
applications?
isn't like a statutory modification, obviously.
The counterplan is a statement of the status quo. I was just curious what you think
It's just
it does.
factually false.
I mean, is this like counter T allow? Like we approve the exports. Sure.
Approve pending exports. Okay. I want to talk about politics. You haven't even pretended to read a link. That card's about legislation. What do you think the Ninth Circuit's link to Obama?
I mean, if you're right, that was a pretty good job pretending. But in all seriousness, the link is very specific to legislation dealing with offshore development.
Right, which isn't the plan. Your uniqueness evidence is about the Gang of Eight bill. Why is political capital important? In fact, cites like people like Rubio.
Yeah, Obama's working behind the scenes. That's in the same piece of evidence.
For who? Who is he convincing? Yeah, who is he convincing? What is he doing?
He's exerting his leverage, right? So what?
I was just curious who he's convincing and how.
Like individual names?
Like any reason why he's relevant.
Well, he would probably be key to marshal his own party once the Gang of Eight bill gets out, which is something the plan.
Okay, so the Dems might backlash to immigration. Okay, I want to talk about the
every single time
QBQ.
it's happened, they have.
Sure, I want to talk about the QBQ. I guess I'm kind of curious. Let me get to this text. Do you have any evidence that says that Congress can grant Aboriginal title?
Just let me clarify for a second. The beginning of the 2NC. No. I'm providing you a preview. The beginning of the 2NC will alter the section that's related to the word title in that component of the text.
Okay, and then it'll say Aboriginal and make less sense. Do you have any evidence that Congress can do anything to do with that counterplan?
It would open up that natural gas in the Cocoa
To who?
I mean, in regards to like
would
the
you
rights
open
to
it up to the natives, or would you open it up to anyone? I'm just for preview purposes.
If Congress does not have the authority, and I presume that you're previewing me here, so let me.
No, I'm just curious what you think your counterplan will do at any point.
I am telling you that we're going to amend
Okay,
the
you'll
text
try to
based
figure
on.
it out after the
Looking
choices.
over
I
this again,
look
you
forward
have
to
no
it.
part
What
that
does
there's
Russia
restriction
perceive
on
about the
cooking
plan,
oil
and
right
what does
now?
that change? What does Russia perceive about the plan?
That we're encroaching on their sphere of influence. And
Why does
acting
the
and
Cook
disrupting
Inlet feel like the sphere of influence of Russia?
Our evidence says that the current framework for cooperation has been carefully established through diplomatic exchanges.
That seems like a really good reason why the Cook Inlet is like wholly irrelevant.
That's a ton of mobilization, ships, personnel, companies.
You got this going?
Hey, Becky.
Yeah, can I have a joke back?
Sure.
And you recorded the last one.
Everyone got it? Okay. North Korea, or Alaska, sorry. Alliance, methane, solvency, test case, restrictions T, QPQ counterplan, exports counterplan, accidents, Russia, DOI trade-off, politics.
For one, let's do the WTF. Can you maybe go through that one more time just to make sure we have it?
1, 2, 3 solvency, T test case, restrictions, QP.
Okay, sorry.
Wait, T
Test
test case
case.
or test case 2?
Test case T.
Okay.
Then T, restrictions.
Right.
Condition, QPQ, exports, accidents, Russia, DOI trade-off, politics.
Environment EA, Russia EA.
Yeah, environment, Russia, DOI politics. Everyone ready? North Korea has welcomed to attack our units. They don't cause aggression in South China and South Korea, which escalate that the United States from week with Korea. Yes, escalation to Snyder from 3 days ago. Korea says that they're likely to escalate due to high tension region. It is different from previous times, which is what all their impact even to recent missile defense starts do matter. The impact is not silly. Super qualified experts agree that the missiles are now capable, and we are redeploying there, which their evidence does assume missile defense does work. The new increase is sufficient, but it needs energy security in order to actually work. Our evidence says that energy security only possible through LNG, through natural gas, from the cooking that to concede internally now. The alliance advantage, alliance is not resilient. LNG is key. It's a key tipping point right now because of the Abe transition. That's Ito Abe's visit. Highlights the purely political relationship is fragile. Shang 3 and their gains lost from Abe the making managed relations more effective. Everything even 7 obviously investigated just towards that relation. US not only can be active by Japan. It's seeking foreign interest based on capacity Japan. We'll be serious with European alliance. Europe Japan don't have a firm political relationship. Yes, China, Russia, and back and see the magnitude of the internal link does escalate to nuclear war. Their defense doesn't assume the current tensions in the region as well. Chinese naval escalation. ACN does not solve this internal link because of a miscalculation, uniquely short circuits diplomacy, which is what their warrant assumes they will escalate. Their evidence does not assume new naval tactics from China, aggressive moves that are clear evidence. All from 2013, their evidence is universally too old and doesn't assume current tensions or the leadership transition in Japan. That's spurred nationalism everywhere. Conceded the TNW's impact. Russian energy security key and threat. Aggressive TNW usage of the political plan creates a quadrilateral relationship through LNG experts in the region. Goes nuclear, turns to Arctic impact. Now the methane advantage. Other locations don't matter. The U.S. has better standards than Japan. Our evidence makes a time frame distinction. Our evidence says that new Japanese hydrates, which their evidence doesn't assume, are the fastest time frame and magnitude to runaway tipping points. Turns all of their DA impacts now solve the Arctic doesn't apply. When is the you have a high threshold for specificity. The tech is ready and Siri controls. Siri control and trade ensures fast production. They have the tech. Siri 13 Siri is resistant to solve. Us generic small companies able more sensitive than others. Possibly Manchester structure for the center and it goes to new. As particularly splice been drilling local advanced. Splice been drilling local advanced. Price high price encourage get B. Making a problem seriously window encourage development before importation becomes any more processing. Now test case. The one the plan is using the error ruling that says that Cook should be granted property in exchange for commitment to produce natural gas. It's a matter of statutory law that can be overturned. That's gold per second. The app doesn't have to specify beyond what it does. Regressive to have half of the app specify vote counts in different parts of the tax rate, etc. 3 solvency. You have to check all these arguments for the app's type of ruling cruiser is sufficient and the app is predictable. That's block. It doesn't take out solvency. Our app gets through. The plan would be effective. It's in the literature which checks all of their offense. And there is a test case. The EAC1 would be that case. It's in 1995. Still pending. That's a Goldberg evidence as well as block evidence. And the plan would overturn that hospitality restrictions. We meet OCS moratorium restrictions. Hacking 10 OCS moratorium prohibited. Northern and external areas commercial moratorium present practice and Cook Inlet specifically meets LD12. Obama resales and draft notes. Unfortunately, still 214. the final plan failed to include any leasing units, streaks, and more turning money, 5% national. OCS and negative interpretation is bad. The distinction between making things harder and outright prohibition arbitrary. Prior to the context of instruction all, limiting gap evidence used that are different. Context interpretation restrictions or limitation on use of property, secondary content, restriction is defined as only used limitation use of enjoyment of property, correction is extraction, state direction, the undertaking of correction comes to use, includes extraction, pull, oil, and natural gas interpretation is that flex to if any outright prohibitions app needs room to innovate and actually solve advantages, be it solves limits only apply to limits on property, so the majority of that people have read don't mean good is good enough, slightly broader definition of preferable restriction content in the plans of financial incentive, clicking in all one, financial incentive defined as primary transfer research by the government now, the kind of like condition on going to grocery receipt, constantly with your class education being backed by multiple steps to debate through value, multiple town comes status codes locked on and constantly doing late directly instead of person one, conditional after you solve drop the permutation, growth permutation, counterpoint reaccess, a bigger original link to warning that they how you faster and cause bigger thing works in the short term, the counterpoint locks in the status code commerce has already explicitly affirmed OCS title of 7 statutes blocking number never affirmed average penalty, the OCS title affirmed commerce facilitated title of 0 CSE, the federal legislature ever affirmed OCS for any city correction action however the player, and the use of point is lack of ninth circuit action blocks in decades of litigation uncertainty blocking 48 denied use of OCS contrary referring to commerce village as well as data rely on principles of certainty, stability, property rights, this is essentially doing expansion like claims for Velcy on needed by getting lawsuits, cross production, fiat can't solve that, because OC and lowers the 12 primary culprit trend of the new life production drug duration of the AT lawsuit, although federal law price UX, so the root probably HC makes longer actually right for N, links to politics and we don't need those cards. Counterpoint will be struck down grade 1894 and politics court. That the title is not being right word. The graduate from Congress from the U.S. accepted territory. Festival of the day now. Did you have stuff on that or the other? Export CV. Permutation to both massive opposition to new terminals means it won't get financed and can't export to 2018. Cook is key. Cross 13 resistance for environment groups to help export to manufacturer campaigning and after extra Spanish. Down to truck finance to 2018 country with export 1 billion cubic feet per day. Permutation to counter terminal construction costs and delay. Cook is already ready. Cross 13B into 2 convert terminal export to B4 investments. B will export because 7 billion below terminal only 2 25% modern life links to politics and would cost more drilling. So it links to the other DAs. Cook's the fastest reasons delay deficit to approving exports. Also infrastructure for shale exports doesn't exist everywhere on feasibility of extra channel building gas and export production shipping limits on available gas equipment equipment and fracking is tight in the range even capital is short in the range lag time for sure supply of petroleum engineers in the market and you want to find the card that wants to go about this? I got it. Yeah, you okay. And Cook is key to add Japanese energy security. All the other ones fail. SGN 2.6 the ideal source of gas in Japan. Energy security equals national security PM. Understand unique benefits of Alaska. LNG from Alaska face no obstacles. Alaska's uniquely situated supply. Japan's energy needs zero. No short price. No pirates. No careful and Asian plans. No EF plant of gas. If they say they do, and if they say they do Japan do the Cook inlet plant, that means they link to all the DAs now. The accent DAs not about Cook and super safe. Go on into Cook. Water quality tax. One of those still like low gas long term carbon time. Would be keeping price locally in West reaction to the faster by the impact. Would methane caused by warming extinction. No impact solely by diversity. Only warming sacrifice. Elimination of weeks long. Human and the human species and after one exceeding these resort running go across functional organisms become a single number of variety of systems number of these are increasing now the Russia DA the plan link towards this argument ensures cooperation by creating a quadrilateral cooperative framework in Asia with Russia. That's where I need to evidence from the one I see there link evidence is about extraction from existing oil fields in mainland Russia, not about Cook at all. So natives would create a different native accord ruling to create a different signal than U.S. sphere of influence intrusion, which proves that there's zero link, there's no chance of Arctic war. Expert going through 19 dependent from fear company regional both the extra started not to say writing aggressively regular region where the rule of close to fair jurisdiction 97 federal research law to number of the actions recently of politics and security now the DUI trade-off to no link against DUI native energy action now DUI 12 according to wellness to power companies sells financial regulation streamline these simple renewals the Catholic most my band formally regulations 50 years regulations step across these for renewable energy following the act does not expand DUI oversight court of appeal rules in theory doesn't need leases from the DUI that's when I see block evidence they can just drill with aboriginal title which is a unique mechanism batteries don't solve survival this is laughable we solve energy security better through LNG and natural gas and the economy and the climate, which is all of their impact evidence. They read new cards will get impact even to the one-day politics will pass review of daily mail for one anymore. One riddles will come out on discussion that they are movement for lobbies to negotiate confidence review. One is not really in the game of constitutes reports. We plus for future reviews the fear and judge party. Lobbying reclosing watching any approval and DA's non-intrusive conditions against liability use to dual plan pass immigration SOI. We can take the lead and Alaska's. We don't need that card. Court sealed waiting to find officials actually turn over controversial questions of courts to prevent legislature avoid political fallout with direct attention for politicians shifting life for controversial questions demonstrating relationships with creating preserved plans by partisan Congress debating it now. Winston, Q4 bipartisan, Senators introduce a bill to allow LNG exports to expand the bill. Road energy security, GIs, Bruce Spencer, Russia, and around the US and Alaska, plenty of gas, selling 10 other senators, back to Israel and Hofek Corin, LC Huffman and Johnson Lee, and Huncombe Hadkamp loves the plan, loves the plan. Dolly 13, a bipartisan coalition, Senate Spencer plan to guarantee US natural gas to Japan, Very Vancouver, along with Tiny Camp, North Dakota, she's key. You get Democrats as well as Republicans on board and around energy policy, national journal too. Well, 27 of the Tiny Camp, the important leader, more Democrats, energy from energy, becoming such a grand president, Democrats on the race, she'll have an opportunity to get Democrats for energy legislation to move. Any energy bills, not even parts of the Washington state, take out position, won't land by the President Vegas, will forge straight through the plan for Obama's initiatives. Jerusalem, 330 Vegas, from Japan, Golan, that's Australia, and Obama called them to CD President King, Secretary, and Time Post, and Vegas, seat Obama's gender crucial Democrat, detecting now, Hill, 327 race, and March, Democrat, Roger, the race, Charles, hearing, legislation, therefore, Democrats facing, if low 2014 re-election judge Vegas, or making it by welcome opportunity to show independence for Obama, no economic benefit from legalization or dependence, impacting Hill, and all, and again, some suggest that legalizing limits to rent the recession seems unlikely, finding the ICR, overstate earnings, the effect are negative for Wilson, who we all find new improvements to occupation, mobility, or wages, 90% on other rising rich, tax credit revenues would be modest.
Do you have stuff on the testing thing or virtually that you're doing?
Okay. Expanding the alliance is key to Japanese ISR capabilities. Proponent intend the U.S. as making hold of the ISR parties. The U.S. and Japan can collaborate with ISR. Japan needs to co-op to collaborate with the U.S. to consider extension of ISR. They do crossing the coordinated concepts of alliance. That's key to USAF co-effect in the chance 13. They do improve the opportunities and collaboration between neutral and self-nation. The ability to leverage ISR. They'll improve valuable effect alliance multiple USF global vigilance collapse of Air Force ISR kills the targets global cause global combat Thompson. Force going to the U.S. global combat instance. Global modernization like the environment time emergency or CW the U.S. will lose global air dominance.
That card's marked at dominance.
In the 1995 case, where the trawlers were suing the Secretary of the Interior for denying them title to access the Cook Inlet, on what grounds did the court rule for the Secretary?
On paramountcy.
Explain.
Paramountcy is a doctrine that says...
No, explain why it applied and how it was applied.
Paramountcy was applied to that situation because they said that they couldn't drill there or use fishing rights there because it could possibly impinge on national sovereignty, i.e. the federal government may need to use areas around there for military exercises. We've read evidence in the 1AC that that was false. The block evidence insolvency says that was basically just native injustice that the courts have been doing for centuries. And that's not a justification.
So no one's drilling there now, including non-native groups.
No one drills in the Cook Inlet offshore. People drill in Alaska onshore, but that's distinct. We've read evidence that those wells are declining. Okay. Offshore drilling is necessary, and those areas aren't.
When do your Senkaku and Alliance impacts take place, since all of this evidence is talking about hair trigger alert this month?
It's probably pretty soon. I mean, our evidence is all about sending a signal of LNG exports and reinvigorating the alliance. Our ETO evidence, I think, is fantastic on this question and connects it directly to the Senkakus.
What's the motivation that Japan would have to ditch the alliance in the short term?
We have great evidence about the transition of leadership, creating new ideas as well as the
When
culture.
does the leadership transition finish?
I mean, it's already happened like a week or two ago. Abe is now in power. Our evidence says he's looking to reorient or reinvigorate, depending on which way the U.S. goes in the context of LNG exports.
Makes sense to me. Ceres, the Alaskan Native Drilling Corporation, were they involved in the original case?
Yep.
Okay, and when they ruled against them, were they drilling somewhere else after that, or how have they stayed in business?
Well, they have stayed in business on onshore wells. Our evidence says those are now declining / have basically zero natural gas left.
But the company still exists.
I mean, yes, it exists, but that doesn't mean they have gas.
Ceres is South Central Alaska's largest private landowner with more than 750,000 acres of subsurface land in and around oil-producing regions on the Kenai Peninsula and the west side of the Cook Inlet.
And we've read evidence that the onshore areas that they currently have are declining. That's
Can you give me a site on that?
Yeah.
In the meantime,
I'll find that for you and tell you in a second.
In the meantime, your LD evidence on T, the Obama lease sale was identical to their draft plan with the exception of delaying lease sale 244 in Cook Inlet.
Okay, Arched, it's Bailey 2012. Without drilling up more well, supplies will fall short of demand in 2013.
Makes sense. The final plan presented to Congress by the administration...
Sorry, what are we talking about? Is this T?
Yeah,
okay.
Failed to include any new lease areas, effectively reinstating a moratorium for the next half decade. So 5 years, the SQO solves?
No, that card just says that there's a functional moratorium and our whole app is about within 5 years. All of our impacts are.
Is that good? Makes sense to me.
Time.
5:43.
5:43.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I'm okay. I'm fine.
Yeah. T. Restrictions. The QPQ counter plan. The allow exports counter plan. T allow exports, then QPQ. Japan, and then Korea. So I guess the alliance page and then the missile defense, Korea war page. Everyone good? Do we need to debate restrictions? Yes, no question. Other parts of the topic I debated relevant when there's no beyond OCS strong, especially the cooking with the new leasing strategy opens up all of its fletcher and $12 $1,000 offshore release the perfect selling your heads and gas. Restrictions of oil and gas systems of government offshore. Oil and gas systems for the next 5 years are there. Evidence says that there was a small delay in how that was done. That being essentially decides who does the act and the happily speaks up between that makes it possible because they don't get linked unique etc. Also makes no statutory ban which the explicit the definition of the key evidence is simply regulation when those sales when those leases will be allowed. Anyone can drill now, which means that the app restriction is not actually one. It's a restriction for title there. Evidence that describes it, I think it's quite awful. It's about a 1995 court case that not much has been written on recently. There again, Goldberg evidence does not mention the word oil or gas. It says that there are tons of restriction on fish now, which obviously makes a whole bunch of sense because it is the trawler case about fish trawlers and their block evidence says in 1995 there was aboriginal title that applies to the use of the OCS, not to the ability to produce something in oil and gas. Obviously, evidence best to post this fletcher and trawling stuff. Well, particularly go for the Mexico to the ability to retain low total planning areas, one introducing book over to the Alaska Arctic and the inland area now 2NC evidence their first meet after card says it's from a bunch of Republicans who said that the lease sales not going fast enough, obviously for ours is factual. We'll include the chart in the debate as Boehm in 2012 and also that something I'll give you afterwards. Also new leasing programming of now Boehm in 12 Boehm well Robert W. and the Army is also the first leasing of the USS and the gas program for the 2017 program. Boehm Gas Oil and Gas Interior is being sued for opening up too fast and 12 failing to the moratorium was lifted Rocket and 12 but still listening to the moratorium exits. So this company's obviously additional the board was over and the moratorium of the Virgin House a drastic change in product justice for introduction. They say we meet this evidence says that it won't be sold in status quo. That's the evidence I did before. Sorry, the piece of evidence above that says that restrictions or least lack of leasing still to be a restriction, but we're contesting whether or not that actually is occurring. They say it's arbitrary, it's not an element. 19 now we have way of due evidence says that there are over 40 agencies that can affect regulation. That also makes the topic bidirectional. But in any further regulation, confusing that explodes limits total 88 dimension having that recovers reports for the hours there and major costs exceeded $1 billion more precise shackle for 17 mall regulation litigation laws so they have these interest relations to fact that less limitation regulation issues of the management of the business plus mode and 4% mode a mode of foreign pursuit gate the restrictions limitation answer those arguments also they can't win their limitation if their leasing sales occurring in the status where they see the production is extraction whatever we obviously are fine with that there not incentive for production web and I think one of the officers discussion interpretation key to contribute to the greater difference for price with every main dispersed public violence to reduce guarantees most guarantees subject to taxes for living definition of the departments of the factors to such for the president said incentives to exclude markets not directly as under encourage behavior that expose limits their intervention exposed limits CIA and 82 most federal policies that affect the direction of policy energy regarding state growth and government your tax policy the incidents of the primary growth focusing government action use prima flash forces to affect energy through financial incentives they don't have a solvency evidence actually opening up the oil and gas restrictions their evidence is all about fish which is a negative presumption argument because there's no solvency evidence obviously making this act quite difficult to prepare for before the NDT because it doesn't actually really truly exist now that would be independent reason but they made a reasonability argument our argument is our topic restrictions far more limited even it limits our critical research on the
unstable, in-depth debate, unpredictable topics, which means that even if they were to win, they're just unpredictable background innovation that so goes over called debate with depth started breath. Now, the first counterplan, we will not go for it. We'll concede the argument that export terminals are impossible. I don't know how they can get out of this argument and win any of their advantages besides the Alaska energy security arguments. They have said exports are key to relations and Chinese and Chinese energy security, and then said that exports won't happen because you can't build terminals. They'll extend this FTN card that he reads in the tweets he's trying to make up for it. And this evidence says Alaska is an ideal source of gas for Japan because there are no choke points, no pirates, no nation territory claims. But if we can't build the damn terminals, who really cares? Now the other counterplan, we're not going for conditionality. Conditionality is obviously just fighting against human purposes because they made the choice to destroy debts from the destroy debts from the outset. Conditionality is most logical, which always seems to make logical decisions every day. The pressure for strategic considered government interaction tactical sources is a keystone encourages research towards multiple good strategies and punches bad ground balances quality and as well as quantity of arguments. Stag ground requires blocks 2 AR depth 1 AR leeway no topic D is heavily built 2 AC skews or inevitably 3 more T or case arguments permutation justice competition. Not going for the counterpoint now. They say that certainty means no drilling, but that's the court ruling. Obviously turns out means they can't solve the opposition fire left. The government decision making usually created certain determined investments on massive court regulatory economic policy such a complex issues time policy case institution for authority safety legislation and adjustment of regulatory uncertainty prevents investment rights predictable environment legislation litigation that the court decision and so that kills the economy. They can see the impact of that role, and that's why there's a economic argument to predict the parts of the case everybody uncertainty rates confidence survival and reduces growth legal uncertainty kills business confidence speaks no drilling turns the link Keeley in 2001 certainty is that real individual business will predict the courts similar to the activities of the society by the courts changing the rules of our people and safety time and money to pursue the goals. But I could throw another argument I'm like here because I think I might not actually say it, is that the politics link through that the court's decision won't actually be enforced by regulatory agencies because there's not enough cost as well as DIO, GDIO in the Congress. Does not want to open up now. The Japan advantages are trying to rub Russia. Russia's trying to work to prevent no escalation of the Cold War. Japan nationalism is absolutely not critical. That was the distinction between the two. We see their TNW's argument just as it makes the potential for escalation higher. Our evidence is going for them to go to war with things like resources, such as the diplomacy in the U.S. to check that's borders in 12 months. Custody, but the condition protected to transfer the national sentiment of the Russian lines of the reality access to the international countries of the U.S. Partnership with the Russian government for the interview towards Russia. Channel communication as Asia doesn't escalate in general. She's on 12 power tradition adds to uncertainty, but war is unlikely even if the president goes to force in the development world situation really different things with economic integration and conflicts between a any country. The U.S. only to reach a world possibility of non-proliferation of the U.S. It doesn't escalate watchword in 310 U.S. The world is getting united in the split up for transgression 1914 as the exception of the volume of impacts from China, competent fund, any of these other implementation, combat spread knowledge supports not the governments of North Korea are there's no SCS conflict Carlson 13 China. You're ready to get nothing is up to the posture both outside and hostility to reestablish ability China for world recovery China's efficiency. If you're going with a global difference, you're depending on something these features of any different will keep China's in force war with some sort of estimation of Europe and control use of the which is also growing national sentiment and running China's constrained its laws and 13 years to transaction for the countries for probably in China was ever different as well as no hostile market weakness in the field of the regulation now government to the region they take the wonder of China there's resources in action for the national figure national methodologies and using small script spiral is not likely to try to rush Shostovsky in 13 in Italy and Moscow's bearing busy for Canada with the sort of help the sort of the thing for China figure out how you should typically in public machine or lose minor impact evidence of the high amounts of nationalism in China Russia just resources don't solve that which is just their unique argument but obviously takes out their impact now the North Korea arguments there's no misses arguments there are speculative investments that there could be a strike however there's no way for them to actually deliver their current test record but that evidence is fantastic it says the tons of complex hurdles are still in the way LA Times evidence says Hecker is a former director of Los Alamos and says that they can't threaten the U.S. multiple years recent Mr. That's such a thing that proves their back silly cone create the say there's no people less than 2 dozen before 2 seconds moved on had there was a bit of somebody who white but significant technology first being asked to government in space to return that occurs to reach a guidance system for creating the police there we look at those and the so needs to be helping giving us one of our search can't do looking at the correct like author seriously overestimate the impact Brannigan 12 young young over giving people the like watching is one of the times devices is another voicing globally such a voice but any purpose for Mr. Kerry there's no more our fish are I don't think Irish but Christian resolved in Korea about the forces of something no doubt any ever separate like that is that bring effects of Korea never actually should bring forth the sacrifice of North Korea that can be true calculating just the preservation of that's what the Korea are not doing glory war not surveyed on industry no to get over on contract is not Korea travel was a region where they got interest in running outbursts wouldn't escalate land because China went back to real in 314 the closest Close to the status of frame relation to code labor Chinese, as of the power system beyond going, gender free from the line, the hundreds of weekends, Chinese school power, take the slow Chinese, motion, the SB, for 300 trade organization, also like South Korea, trade, close no escalation, Bowie, and 333 no cost of like the DS, as of China, as of the court, the American Chinese, specifically more vocal time for the DS, the resolution of economy in North Korea, and China, or this is no war, they're blocking partisanship, most recent evidence, 3 times 3, 31 qualified, military force, like the country, and the best, US will be referred to, made by public translation, so the attention to the war, game, this country trying because we something against the custom. These kinds of war, and seriously, they warn us all the time that there's going to be a war that never actually happens. Don't give internal links to war. Their evidence about missiles. Missiles are really stupid for the reason I explained about missile defense fails. It can't boost fast enough. It hasn't been tested. There's evidence that says that energy security is key to Alaska missile defense from Baggage, who's obviously a senator for Alaska who wants more money for the system. They have not read a solvency card in the debate that natural gas spills over to allow for energy security that will be used for missile defense on U.S. bases. And I think it's something that should probably introduce in the 1 ER meeting.
What restrictions are allowed in your interpretation?
So you can lift the Gulf of Mexico drilling leasing ban.
So there's one
drilling bill. Then there's like the NRC ban on licenses.
So NRC ban on licenses is a restriction under your interpretation?
Yeah, they currently cannot issue one.
Okay. For the NRC, what is the process that you can get a license?
Well, if right now you can't get one.
So no one can get an actual license for nuclear power plant?
That is correct.
Okay. Are there any lease sales on offshore Cook now? You read evidence that the Cook has a proposed onshore lease sale. Why is that relevant?
No, your evidence, well first, our evidence says that every OCS area besides...
You only have one card that mentions the Cook Inlet, and it says proposed, and it says onshore. Why is that relevant?
Okay, offshore oil and gas. Well, first of all, what are you talking
about? I can pull that up. It's the...
What, are you serious? Fletcher 12. Lease sales will occur in 6 areas: Gulf of Mexico, Chukchi Sea, Beaufort Sea, and Cook Inlet planning areas offshore Alaska.
Fair. I meant the bottom of the card where it's a little different. But
like I know we're scrambling to answer your
financial incentives. Your financial incentives argument. Whether it's a contingent commitment is a land commitment contingent.
Sorry about that.
Is a land commitment contingent?
No, but it doesn't matter what the commitment is. First, it has to be financial, so it has to be cash, but also
it just has to be
cash.
Every app or financial incentive.
They can't just make production easier.
So every app, just to be clear, for financial incentives,
well,
has to be cash.
I mean, it has to be financial. Like cash is obviously just a.
So what else is a contingent?
Like a tax credit for production.
Okay.
PTC.
Do you have any evidence in terms of the Kenai plant, which is the one that would export the gas from Alaska, in terms of it not being fast enough to solve?
No, sorry, what?
You broadly assert that because we've said that the lower 48 terminals will not be fast enough, that ours isn't fast enough. What evidence do you have that the Kenai plant doesn't already export or will export?
This is a false distinction. Your entire premise.
Our whole 1AC is.
No, you haven't read a card. You have not read a card that isolates Alaska LNG exploration or anything besides that.
Uncertainty DA. How do you apply it to our app when all the cards on the camera plan say the reason it's uncertain now is because every branch of the government except for the 9th Circuit has ruled in favor of aboriginal title, including Congress, etc.
Our evidence says that the court doesn't get involved in production decisions.
And your
so
evidence,
when it does,
you're talking about the evidence that's about the court's 8-0 ruling in 5 major utilities in American Electric Power v. State of Connecticut, correct?
Yeah. It's
okay, so you're going to apply that evidence to our specific instance where every branch has ruled the opposite way of the court, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that is, when we change that to make it all line up, it's more uncertain for investors?
Yes, because it's the court intervening in production decisions.
So
Congress has sent a clear signal, and you're mischaracterizing your 2AC evidence, which says, yeah, you're right, there's been a disagreement in Congress and the courts, but you have not read a card that causes uncertainty. You just read a generic uncertainty impact to like some contrived story. Jurisdiction is closed. Can I get I guess I'll try and do that.
You want to get that?
Well, I'll try to reply first.
No, they're jumping.
I love an email. Really? You can see things right now, like writing an email.
All I want to do is write email.
Okay, so are you like copying and pasting out other emails? That's like a very I know.
Maybe Google looks like
The politics dissent. The politics dissent. The methane advantage. The environment dissent. And then the Russia dissent. Intrinsicness, the link proves its relevant opportunity cost process is as a key to negative ground as well as education. About intergovernmental workings, the U.S. is not a single monolithic decision maker. Reject the argument on the team of Iraq for the dissent concede that the courts shield the president. He can't get a win. The turns are all about a status quo push, not a court case. We'll also concede that there's no impact. The ISR out on the internal link is worse than awful. It says that the U.S. and Japan should cooperate in the context of the alliance, but it does not say that it will happen now. And the U.S. is already the global leader. Sequestration outweighs Alexander. 312 defense officials were doing the best of the last personnel. If it's still lawful to build the ships, we will last year. The military will heal the hundreds of millions of cuts over 487 million hours deployed, $100 million, $460 million, multi-billion short falls in Congress, the Department of Flexibility is given under assignment plans to over $500 billion over the next decade. Carney would have to look at every one of its programs. They were going to reduce force structure immediately and significantly the state savings as a cut acquisition programs, specifically Asia, Collins 228. See, Western reasons to cancel carrier and signals that the U.S. Navy hard pressed to service guarantee over the sea lanes, the less formidable U.S. naval presence message should send to around the globe. B, cancel carrier of leaders opportunity to China, North Korea, that about the hours, it's wonderful world defense risks, spreading itself within the way in the internal threat, the return power of strike groups. Their internal link is about communication between aircraft. Their impact is about the actual hardware. It doesn't solve war. Cloud filter, 6 precision bomb, and not the answer in the typical war method faces even with such advantages as predator arms and hellfire missiles. The long-term harmful value with lower powers will likely know what's a short-term benefit as long as the negative political blows remain substantial. Long-term powers will continue to restrict utility in the 21st century. Now, the methane advantage, there's no impact. Archer 10B, leading the animal maintain as much as quantified what this is evidence, but Chuck is losing his dead. Gas is high feedback right with the nature as usual. Uptick is not simple. Internet will variability is important as cycle spars and a very small feedback center. Emerging the host rates for the world's methane source, but the ocean source of worlds much smaller than when there's no reason to fix it. Hydrate takes time to melt limited by the transport. The don't generally explode instantaneously for methane to be a game changer. Would have to degas the atmosphere catastrophically. No one has proposed a mechanism to make that happen. They do not solve fast enough. Their evidence says that Japan is moving in the direction during the leadership transition in the next couple months to exploit these resources. No reason why, if we haven't already been able to impose safety standards, that the plan is to make it or break it. And the export defense in the 2NC applies. The most conclusive studies say that it doesn't to trigger the dissent. So 7, Kalu puts the Nelson coffin of CH4 and the methane increase in the atmosphere up for 2 decades. The decreased atmospheric CH4 by freedom counter greenhouse gas good. Decreased warming now. The environment decided is critical to human survival. We have the best studies. Refutes their so-called expertise. Science we love ecosystem services make us inhabitable. Ecologists from Stanford University, research institutes of telephonics from numerous biology experiments. Findings indicate that biology is necessary to keep ecosystems functioning. Diversity is a crucial factor in maintaining your life support systems. Oceans are unique, crate-free. Ocean ecosystems play a major role in geochemical cycle, human activity, marine ecosystems. Members of the planet's ability to support life, maintaining biodiversity is critical. Diverse ecosystems are more stable. If we kill the oceans, we kill ourselves in the biosphere. And irreversibility means you shouldn't take the chance. Chen 2K decision to allow the extinction of a species or ecosystem. A federalized irreversible and irreversible can live without things. Value of endangered species is biodiversity. Being bodies literally incalculable as biological diversity creates problems in humanity. The loss of genetic and species diversity is worse than nuclear war. Recency matters because newer studies have disproven the assumptions behind their older data sets. Science data we have by combining data from 17 the largest long-running biodiversity experiments. Scientists found that through these studies underestimate viewpoints. Biodiversity studies considered only the number of species needed to provide one service. So study species were important during different years, different places for different services. Species are needed to maintain ecosystem services. Uncertainty means that conserving as much biodiversity as possible is a good precautionary approach. Now, their link defense in is power tag from Bureau of Ocean Management Energy Report, who is advocating a 2012 to 2017 Cook Inlet drilling program, which means they are making the case to Congress. Also, in the underlined part of the card that they read, it says impacts from a large oil spill defined as a discharge of volume of oil into the environment that could result in catastrophic effects could persist for an extended period of time. You know empirically that it can be catastrophic, but the massive increase in production guarantees that the company uses less and less safety standards because they're moving onshore to offshore. The impact defense is wrong. Go ahead. The Russian developed hard to reach reserves in deep waters and energy companies and counter hazards existing technology groups are capable of responding adequately when disasters occur as it's increasingly likely to result in environmental damages exponentially more devastating. Drone poses perilous challenges given extreme conditions, uncontrolled oil flows like infrequently lethal many species which are little tolerance for environmental hazards. Now, their evidence assumes effective safety regulations wrong. Walsh, 12 response to the U.S. Field Farm cement formulation seems to be more of an arm than science for operating company having capacity to Canadian and deepwater boats. So don't of Congress to do anything. Congress is still doing enough legislation to address the lessons learned attempts to make regulation of offshore drilling are tricked out there. Say that warming triggers the impact. It doesn't impact biodiversity. It's cause attempts to address organizational responses that usually tend to focus on evolutionary change of phenotype plasticity, transgenerational plasticity, significant changes in the shape of offspring. Such effects have been observed offspring from high and low temperature parents grew best to high and low temperature respectively, suggesting adaptive response rate of responses to a rate of the median rate of offshore growth is maximized CGP odd. Rapid response to changes higher CO2 elicited the CGP response to species research projections for the extinction risk. Their impact defense evidence is arguing a case against the Endangered Species Act in the court, the Russiagist Act. They have good link defense, but they have not addressed issue-specific uniqueness, which means you know that the status quo is a critical threshold, especially given the recency of our articles, and that war misperceives a diplomatic agreement that has been carefully negotiated to maintain the critical balance. This time that adjustments in the Russian Arctic strong emphasis on reconciliatory positions that provide better coastal cooperation facility, best progress focus on common interest and improve relations to international cooperation, talking about Russia growing global demand for gas and oil, commodity resource large exploration in the North offshore. Russia had interest in maintaining the region as an area of international cooperation and preserving stability. At the same time, growing importance of striving force with the new Russian military presence, its economic activities increase Russian military presence, is likely to increase the military strategic importance of the Arctic. Russia will remain high. They, in a BMD internal link, said that the U.S. will invest more military assets to protect these offshore drillers. It will be a ton of personnel, a ton of ships. It's just a ton of ships. That is very, very easily misperceived. As per one NC internal link evidence, they have no cards saying that the plan specifically spills over to broader cooperation, and the commercial vehicles are key, which is a conceded internal link argument. Cooperation now wars on the brink. Their so-called expert is an ex-Danish admiral who's being quoted by someone on their blog. It's likely that from 312, the effects of warming Earth by open waters out of the Arctic Arctic there's been cooperation. There's been a little effort to develop legal mechanisms, potential for grounding society, even though tensions are low, reserve shipping routes and fisheries are being opened without regulation. Russian so their interest in increased military personnel and equipment form does not exist.
Nuclear war doesn't cause extinction. No way nuclear winter would.
Yeah, no way nuclear winter turns any of this. We're on a critical threshold, and there's an invisible threshold for biodiversity, so each species matters equally. Four.
Do you guys have it up? Yep. All right. Order's going to be Alliance, methane hydrates. Alliance methane hydrates, topicality. exports counterplan, QPQ counterplan, environment DA, Russia DA.
Japan, Korea, methane. Is that that?
Japan, no, Japan then methane. No. T, exports, QPQ, environment, Russia. Except that I left politics out of that order entirely. Politics before the environment.
QPQ, politics, environment,
Well, I just want, sorry.
I'll just go from the top, because I think I gave it differently like 4 times. Alliance, methane hydrates, T, exports counterplan, QPQ counterplan, politics, environment DA, Russia. All right, is everybody good? Yes, Russia, China, war, evidence, post-states, incestors, rising tensions, Sasko, diplomacy, and technical, imperfect rationality, miscalculations, likely is too old, doesn't assume, or Eastern tension, escalation, nuclear levels, uniquely likely, there are two knowing evidence is too old, doesn't assume current tensions, and their evidence is leadership tracing and in Japan, which is framing question, the only warrant is that the U.S. has small war because of economic ties, before to intervene because it ties to Japan, the evidence from a PLA member, obviously, unqualified, the current sense of the war is likely not underlying competence, strong competence, breaking individual competence, testified, they try to compete competence, armed competence, more likely to wash for an evidence, a warrant has the U.S. Japan security alliance, the terms of Russia, a Chinese aggression improves conflict in the region, we agree we access a stronger control the boss evidence miscalculation and escalation are still likely that is a paragraph for further carbon and 13 up with the able companies acting in the frank companies about and creating new one Chinese and Japanese and our companies collapse the disputes and companies drop those levels skirmish and so on predictions wider companies data or is this not a South China Sea impacted they can Shinkaku islands impact they conceded in pending escalation causes nuclear war the TNW's impact but there is a very high risk of China Japan war absent the affirmative now the methane hydrogen fantasy their evidence assumes leaks not commercialization we are the mechanism that allows a massive increase in the use of methane which causes rapid warming. They've conceded the terminal impact causes extinction not it, so evidence is not qualified or evidence that causes warming in the short term which means it's relevant if it has long-term different effects and the new argument is one are you sure rejected now the topicality debate we are restriction their evidence that said they was proposed not that it was passed here or restrictions that's go hardly about like incentive access or restriction US and public access and public emission from such and such the OCS limiting area available for placing is a restriction the area and level B below a bunch of restrictions I'm not sure whether the ability to be permitted there are no leases in Cook US TUI and 3 transformers from schools of potential to the ad to Cook B obligation arbitration not to cover the section of the police Cook able to be able to not make a decision before finalizing the properties currently there or no active gas operations public waters there Cook is not in the lease program until 2016 bits and targets for the lease substance following the properties 20 and 7 to 12 FT2 4 Cook in 2016 even if it could happen in the future our necessity is not going to and it doesn't disprove the topicality of the claim this task there's no delay argument and that's all because they're not going to give them aboriginal title to Afghan away negative ground there is no uniqueness or the limits argument it's really hard to innovate on and as the affirmative ground is a precondition to innovation and education on new areas that have there's no bidirectionality we still force an increase in energy production etc interpretation hunter restrictions are conditions on the way the construction happens critical internal link to default to a reasonability framework the only way to avoid arbitrary gender nature we are a financial incentive they consider economic incentives to cost land that's enter and all economic restrictions to prefer the includes the lands where the air rated Nelson 93 financial incentives not additional money said the upgrade significant incentives to pay for its financial incentives to making them paid by those who are likely consenting not funding rubber and has to provide financial incentives not to constant development funding development projects not public funding and public encourage creation incentives to encourage development counter expectation financial incentives are land and sometimes known as incentives to street tax financial incentives often funding investors providing land dollars and unguaranteed some financial incentives quick air corporate terrorist financial incentives including grants OECD and U.S. incentives to charge financial incentives to property financial incentives to grants and loans and indirect incentives to turn the anti-companies and commercialization business limited doctors desirable financial incentives use of their who city companies the hacks public land incentive records public land grant to finance journals work occasion commitment to Gardner and some of the product efficient companies groups is proud of the doctors sizing for fair provide an option to achieve that kind of themselves and increase of resources there and interpretation makes it impossible to permanent because states can always provide the funding which means it kills limits especially because there's no act that meets their interpretation of restriction there. Precision impact is obviously arbitrary and irrelevant. Yes, they have used vanilla evidence about Canadian milk production. We do have a solvency advocate. There's no delineation between what constitutes one. Our evidence says we should repeal and give them aboriginal title, which solves all of their offense. How the experts contemplate doesn't link the Canadian plan already doesn't is able to solve that task. And the trouble of the use of the other practices these are the questions misrepresented in mutual topics that help use properties and Japanese members of and Robert's about the properties of the Harmony. And I love this problem about the difference of lobes and would be eruption in 1969. The record has been instrumental in gaining Japanese shots. So the QPQ contemplate their evidence about broader drilling, which is obviously inevitable. That's what we solve uncertainty because we create the courts to become more in line with that. There's no terminal impact to the economy. Obviously, the reassorted drilling in the status quo would be able to solve for it. There's no impact extent as courts are able to enforce it. And even if they were, we should get the out, which means it's durable. And it is able to solve politics advantage there. ISR internally just about on this questions about Japanese ISR, which means its defense that it doesn't imply overwhelms the question because the cooperation is uniquely key because we have a declining military capabilities. It is effectively, the commercialization, communication is necessary for effective use of the technology in existence. That's what their last piece of evidence just about drones means. We have a conceit that's mere for isolation. Now the environment impact there is no biodiversity impact or warming trends in here to prove their biodiversity loss impact there. Authors are all hysterics and disproven by past oil spills Campbell. And I love these notices of the extension of Japanese magnetism here and process become corrected there. Extensions of European Japanese versions showed how the only one possession species on extensions groups how much and the child times of the design of species evidence this one extensions we did not it won't research and probably about logic and questionable science and nuclear war dust causing second they have no evidence on these questions they get it we and new evidence on the oceans are resilient heading into the marine ecosystem are resilient well the whole couple of physical factors levels of the strong wings and rapid and normal chain breaks and adaptable habitat and genetic purposes which allow adaptation now or evidence says that the cook is uniquely less likely to trigger all of their topicality arguments proves that their impact is inevitable because OCS drilling is going to occur in other areas makes their impact and evolution rejected so we haven't qualified now the Russia advantage there is no terminal impact will concede BMD is ineffective which means there's no impact to it there is no risk of RJ confidence arguments post states routes and jobs and military campuses the RJR depends on the nature of that and linked to the sharps and Robin terms growing purposes not actual purposes cooperation coastal states that wouldn't have to unlike the breakdown cost of how we would be limited both time and space he doesn't renew terminal impact evidence and there's no chance of escalation we linked to it or evidence says we create a cooperative framework that's I know evidence just more specific and better they have zero link about the perception of the commercialization is not necessary it's done by the natives which they have conceded the piece of Syria evidence that the Tracy reads says that they are already doing it and they're already capable of drilling in the status quo they're doing it onshore which means that Russia doesn't perceive the cook inlet as necessary to theirs there past transproof cooperation for likely freeze and helping good perhaps cooperation Russian government dissolve the 40 years to over territory there are regular things and military cooperators in the United States and the Russia and US and Russia are finding opportunities to work together structuring messages making cooperation necessity international elections only growing in parts they would see that the artists of the cyber international collaboration they ever will in there yeah
213. 213. It's fine.
13, whatever. 300.
The Russia advantage, or sorry, Russia DA, QPQ counterplan, the export counterplan, environment, dissect, politics, methane, and then Japan.
Okay, fuck up people. One second. Those.
You're not even sitting down here.
I mean, you're just not sitting
Everybody?
Yep.
We're not going to production second theater, so Arctic War, the QP2 counterplan known back to the economy was explicitly made in the 2 but back no evidence to debate. I think I should be able to cover the other one. I think I should be able to concede this argument without too much too much controversy. The other counterplan. They read two and have only gone for two natural gas exports good advantages and read evidence that natural gas exports will not happen for two reasons. Environmental opposition. I will reread their Krauss cards. Resistance from enviro groups groups could stop export projects. Manufacturers are campaigning against unfair exports. These manufacturers will make it challenging for projects to raise financing. By 2018, the country export only 1 billion cubic feet of gas. How does the plan change environmental backlash to the ability of export plants to open in Alaska? They don't have a card on that. They have a card that suggests that lower prices would enable us to lower the price of natural gas to Japan, but that assumes some amount of exports happening. Their Evanger card is also quite good for us. It says feasibility of exports depends on the ability of gas infrastructure to support production and shipment. Now, they read this DOS card in the 1AR that says that we have the infrastructure now. Sure, we'll grant them that. And then their Evanger card goes on to say, even if there is sufficient transport infrastructure, there may be limits on available equipment and engineers to develop gas. The market for equipment for fracking is tight and likely to remain so. Human capital for an unconventional oil and gas development sectors is in short supply, which means there is a lag time before an adequate supply of petroleum engineers in the market. Ask yourself, what on earth does the app do to resolve any of this? This doesn't make any sense. The 2AC card quotes Murkowski that they'll try and extend the 2AR, says Japan could be good for building trust, or the Alaska could be good for building trust, but assumes exports. There's a ban on exports now. The DOE has not issued new permits for exports. And then their DOS card, which they'll try to go for to say that this plant is super viable, says that the plant has been supplying 1,300 loads of LNG to Tokyo Electric and Tokyo Gas safely without interruption since 1960, which means they're supplying it to them now, which should solve basically the entire case. They don't have a card that just the plan creates a necessary or sufficient amount of gas exports to resolve either of those two advantages. Their evidence has increased, and I can't go back to the 1AC because this is a new app and I have solo prep time, but they have cards in the 1AC. It says an increased amount of LNG exports is critical to the alliance, which obviously assumes the amount of exports coming from Alaska now if you end up concluding that that's in the SQO. And the same thing for the other advantage about methane hydrates going forward is we need to price them out of the market. They can't ramp up production enough with one terminal. I mean, that's just obvious. They're not this idea is so small. Try or die is a terrible thing. We have some amount of marginal impact even on all their impacts. They can do nothing to resolve any of it. The status quo should solve, but you end up concluding that sort of framing is better. That sort of framing is better if you buy this DOS card. That means status quo should solve our advantages. However, the only logical way to make decisions is to try and avert crises that you can actually avert. Now, I don't think they do a great job on the environment. TA, go there now. Environment leads to extinction of visible threshold theory. Makes a lot of sense. The 1AR 2AC does not extend impact defense by name or site, which makes it quite difficult for my prep time constraint. 2 and the Caprarelli card series in the 1AR says that global warming doesn't cause biodiversity loss in the ununderlined parts, which is a framing issue for why they don't turn the case. Also, the IDSO evidence just made a couple ad hom attacks on IDSO. There's recently disqualified and cites external studies that says that warming does not split biodiversity. However, drilling the Arctic uniquely kills the oceans there. Resiliency evidence from O2R evidence says that the danger of drilling is up in the status quo. Invisible threshold means that even if a nuclear war does cause extinction, it's far more likely that biodiversity will, because you never know what keystone species will cause collapse. There's takeoff evidence from 97 from a lawyer arguing against the ESA who's not as qualified as ISR evidence, which cites 17 new studies and the conglomeration of evidence. They say that cryptos and trigger drilling is decreasing now as browner and 117 shell. After maybe multiple papers the following because something complete, there's no way to solve the Arctic shells or even for drilling. They do no option. This year you've heard there are no no average with Arctic drilling now. Their argument that we said that there's drilling on T does not take it out because evidence that leases are being offered now after actually drilling. They say that we don't have evidence that assumes there's clear evidence says that drilling is dangerous throughout the Arctic. The Walsh evidence says that there's no regulation, especially because the DUI is so overstretched. They say if the shows not qualified answers that's just an ad hom. They really don't have a warrant for this. It's a politics argument. Ad hom, there's no link there. They don't get to exports, which is what the solvency claim is for this advantage. For the Japan relationship advantage, their evidence is normative that we should have more cooperation. Not that it should resolve American air power fails, which is the internal link to ISR. How confident evidence is that we don't deploy it, and it's not self enough evidence that sequester takes the ability for the U.S. to play a role, and that cooperation means we don't fund our own ISR capabilities anymore. Now the methane advantage, there's no methane explosions is a relatively small feedback loop. It's contribute to warming, which is the arch reference. It doesn't not answer, they're not indict like into it. They don't solve methane because leadership and transition is happening in the status quo and methane releases are happening. They don't have a very good card on methane actually causing extinction. It's all part of their other Japan cards to say it could be catastrophic or it could be ecocide, but those people are either writing on blogs or don't really have good warrant. It's so evidence cites 17 other cites multiple other new studies external to so that appliances the counter greenhouse gas emission. They say Japan think their cards are terrible for this. It just says that Japan lost methane hydrogen might be bad. Our evidence assumes that and says that is vastly insufficient. Environment turns it because the destruction of places in the Arctic would obviously cause release of methane because they're all hidden under a bunch of permafrost. Japan advantage. Their leadership argument of Zudong evidence is way better and says that leadership transition won't cause more. The two parts they read from our Ross and Zudong evidence are picking lines out of context. The Moss evidence they read is from before ours, but our evidence is quite recent and says that Asian wars don't actually escalate because of the leadership transition being relatively stable, also because of the U.S. security, the general architecture of the region. They explicitly do not go for China-Japan war because of the TNW's argument, all except Taku's evidence answer. That's fantastic. And they dropped the argument that Chinese nationalism level, which is what their impact evidence describes, but they only resolve resource constraints. We read a slew of cards that says that security umbrellas was economic rationality, interdependency, and constrained rational leaders all check. If there's no North Korean missiles, our evidence is fantastic there. Did a missile test, but it's not enough to actually strike the United States because their missiles suck and they don't have the type of capability necessary to even hit California. And it wouldn't cause North Korea, South Korea drawn. They make provocations all the time, but our evidence wouldn't escalate. Kim is fundamentally rational, which means diplomacy in the United States should solve. They just explain the word miscalculation over and over again. I mean, things win very, very small amounts of impact defense here because they cannot solve this advantage where the status quo solves all of it and it puts the direction of prior attack.
250.
Okay. It's the alliance advantage, the methane hydrates advantage, the export CP, then the accident CA.
Can you say that one more time, Mark?
Yep, alliance advantage, methane advantage, exports counterclaim, and then the accident CA.
It's trying to die for the affirmative and confused conflict likely due to energy concerns estimates to nuclear only a reinvigorated Japanese U.S. alliance officers are clear efforts. You should refer over all their impact even to the professor and way more qualified all their efforts from Reuters and other journalists who have no qualifications to talk about this are evidence from clear sites station studies and new regional tensions from 2013. We just posting theirs as well. It will escalate accidents as well as unwillingness to back down as well as the regional armies and tensions as well as nationalism. I mean that it destabilizes the whole region. That's our awesome evidence draws in the U.S. as well, which you can see the warrant for why it would escalate the global nuclear war. That's the black sun evidence. It turns biodiversity massive soot globally blots up the sun, makes it impossible for animals to live. Probably would also mess up the ocean in the short term, which means you should default to a try or die framework. Your leadership will cause war. His 200 argument doesn't make any sense in the context of our specific transition argument. Our 2AC evidence says the alliance is currently on the brink because of the leadership transition. Only reinvigorated Japanese alliance also says that the ETO evidence as well as 2AC evidence Asia will escalate. Even if their evidence is good generally that it will escalate, you should read it through the lens of the specificity of our scenarios. Takaku's is uniquely likely we have the best evidence in that context. Their AC and example and diplomacy don't make any sense in the context of miscalculation as well as recent hair trigger alert between Japan and China, which all of our evidence speaks to, and none of their diplomacy evidence does. Their Japanese nationalism argument does not make sense. It's not inevitable. The only warrant in that piece of evidence is economic sovereignty, which are internally solved for because it ensures that there is quadrilateral cooperation between Russia, China, Japan, and the United States through LNG energy security, which only experts can solve for. We definitely solve that advantage. That's the ETO card. You should probably read it after the debate. You will decisively vote affirmative on that. Now, the methane hydrates advantage. The methane is coming and causes extinction. This will be is coming and causes extinction. Armadia Evans is not a blogger. He's pretty qualified. He has studied better studies than ITSO, who is funded by the oil and gas industry. Our evidence says that methane in Japan is uniquely likely. Their impact even doesn't cut it because it's from 2010. Doesn't assume the new hydrate boom in Japan in a larger scale. Our evidence is all from this month assumes the technology they're using as well as the massive amount of hydrates that will be released and pushes us over the tipping point within 5 years, which causes biodiversity loss. Triggers their impact faster. They can't turn this because our internal link says that you have to stop methane hydrates in the next year or two in order to prevent the tipping point from happening, which means that it is actually try or die in their infection revolution for extinction in the short term. Now the exports cancel natural gas exports will not happen in the lower 48, but they will be capable of coming from the Kenai plant, which is the key distinction. The plan is for that plant, which is already ready. The DOS card on the 1AR is fantastic on this question that he doesn't really deal with. The Evander card is only talking about the lower 48, i.e. approving new export terminals. The Kenai plant already exists, which is a crucial misunderstanding that the UNR assumes. The 2AC evidence is pretty good about why Siri solves this internal link as well, which is the Native American corporation that would get the right to Aboriginal title to drill immediately after the plan. That 2013 evidence that he's conceded for why they can get production on fast and get the Kenai to export quickly. The affirmative gives natives the capability to drill. That conceded that Siri has the technology that was put above. There's no ban on this argument. Siri has done it in the past, but the wells onshore are decaying, which is our unique disargument that they conceded throughout the debate. The Bailey evidence is great on this question about declining wells. The ETO card connects that to why we need to reinvigorate LNG exports only through offshore drilling. This does not say the status quo. We need more exports. One terminal is enough. The Decker card has never been talked about, but he brought it up in the 200. One terminal is sufficient. The evidence says it has 17 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, which is sufficient to solve all of our terminals. It's the only evidence specific to cook, so you should prefer now the absence here. You should default to empirics on the impact calculus question. Massive oil spills like the Gulf and past species loss all disprove the probability of their impact. Nuclear war turns the environment, causes massive species loss, accidents, to extend the Campbell Evans. He's the creator of Science 2.0 community of research professors, postdocs, science book authors, and Nobel laureates collaborating over scientific projects. They're all writing to prove that species extinction is a flawed model and bad science. Their evidence is all media hype. It's from Science Daily, which proves that even if it cites qualified people, it is not peer-reviewed. I'll send the note impact of biodiversity evidence Sagoff. He's a qualified testimony. No chance that it causes extinction. He doesn't extend oceans independently, so so you shouldn't give that to him, which is the only possible internal link they can access to global biodiversity because oil spills can only affect the ocean. He's conceded Kennedy evidence. It's more qualified. He's a PhD and says that they are resilient, empirically proven by previous oil spills, i.e. the one in the Gulf of Mexico, etc., which did not destroy humankind or kill that much biodiversity, which proves that species are resilient. There's no tipping point argument. That's just a hoax concurred by these random newspapers. Also, Cook is uniquely stable, even if a spill happens. Our evidence is the only one about the affirmative that says those spills won't spread, which means there's no link in the status quo. Drilling is way more likely to trigger, which is where I'm going now. Drilling is inevitable in other areas, which at least should be, at least if we win this argument, prove that all of their impacts are inevitable. They cannot make the new 2NR argument about drilling down. We've explicitly conceded the 2NC topicality evidence in the 1AR that says that there are other areas that are opening up immediately, and even if not immediately, within the next 5 years for guaranteed drilling in the Arctic as well as other regions in the United States, which definitely triggers their impacts. I'll go through their evidence here. The first, I'm not going to be able to go through all of it, but you should read all the T evidence closely. The debates that I have enough prep time, but the first card is the Fletcher card, which says that Salazar has announced a massive oil and gas leasing program for between 2012 and 2017 to have oil and gas leasing off the coast of Alaska. Also, the second piece of Fletcher evidence says these lease sales will also occur in the western central Gulf of Mexico as well as the eastern Gulf of Mexico and the Beaufort Sea and Chukchi Sea, which proves that the drilling in every area is inevitable, and they're diminished. The link to the plan is so tiny. Think about it. The plan only allows for the Cook Inlet region, which is literally like tiny off the coast of Alaska. They say that causes global biodiversity collapse. If you cannot quantify the magnitude of the link versus the magnitude of these other plants opening, you cannot vote for this DA, and you should default to any risk of our evidence. Also, our 1AR basis of evidence already in extending the case indict all their evidence, the Moss evidence as well as their own Brewers evidence concedes that miscalculation is uniquely likely, which proves that their 2013 cards don't apply.
You all already given the ballots to somebody? The debate is
Yeah.
okay. You don't have to decide.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna read it.
Good.
How was the end of the debate?